Visiting Pakistan and spending time away from the UK helped me massively to propel my career and become a commercial pilot in a successfully short amount of time. First and foremost, who am I? I am a commercial pilot. I've been a commercial pilot for the past 3 years, working for 2 major short-haul airlines in the UK. Now, a disclaimer here, everything I say in this video is from my own personal opinion, and nothing I say has been derived from any company that I work for or have worked for. It is all from my own experience and expertise in the industry. Now, that being said, how exactly did Pakistan shape me to become a proficient commercial pilot? Now, before I went to Pakistan, I had recently finished my ATPL training, which is basically my pilot license training. So I had spent an excessive amount of money to get through the training, an excessive amount of time to get through the training because it was during COVID. I've made a whole video as to how I became a pilot, which I'll attach here and you can have a quick look at. But to the same degree, it was a long and convoluted road for myself, to the point where I was at the end of my training completely drained and completely tired of training and of aviation in general. I was at a point where I just couldn't even look at an airplane because I was so indulged in that environment. Now, the way I approached that particular situation was I decided I needed a detox. And luckily, my dad was deciding to go to Pakistan in the same year. So he was planning to go to Pakistan about 3 months after I finished training. Now, if you don't already know, I'm from a British Pakistani background, so my parents are both Pakistani, and I'm also of Pakistani descent. So, of course, that's my homeland, my family. I've got a lot of family still there, so it was almost an opportunity for me to go and visit all of them. Now, bear in mind, before this point, I had never visited Pakistan in my life. I'd never gone and seen my family and relatives over there because up until this point, we hadn't had the money to go traveling, hadn't had the money to go on holiday. And so this was one of the first trips away that I was deciding to do as soon as I finished my training. Now, that being said, my dad, because I knew he was going to Pakistan, I said to my dad, can I book a flight with you and join you along the journey? So I went out there with my dad to Pakistan. So I was in Pakistan for about a month and I learned so many valuable lessons whilst I was out there that I put forward towards applying for an airline. Before this point, I had no prospect of finding a job. It was just fresh after COVID, where there weren't very many jobs available for fresh new cadets. So I knew in my head I had to be very patient, and I didn't have any work at the time. So I thought to myself, I might as well go out to Pakistan for the same amount of time as my dad is going, because I have no jobs, I have no commitments. I might as well go and explore my homeland of Pakistan. So my first kind of lesson to you guys, if you are in a position where you've gone through extensive studying and extensive training, the first thing you have to do is detox yourself. I mean, not necessarily waste your time, but go and spend your time in a valuable place, because it's all well and good being absolutely locked into something and focusing the entirety of your attention on something, but actually in the long run, you will gas out. So finding something that's going to help you detox is super valuable. I mean, I compare it to training. If you go to the gym every single day of the year and you never give your body a chance to rest and recover, you're never going to make any gains in your life. You're never going to make any progress. So it is always so important when it comes to your career and when it comes to everything else in your life. Try your best to find time to actually recover, take time away, detox yourself, and just recover your values and your spirituality and your morality. Just recover it all, because there are going to be processes where you've become so locked into the work that you're doing that you almost forget about that element of things. And I particularly was in that bracket of people where I had been so locked into work that I had forgotten almost who I was. So going to Pakistan was a massive revelation for myself. Now, the first lesson I learned as soon as I got into Pakistan was that I am incredibly ignorant. And the reality of it is that when you're brought up in the West, and I don't necessarily think this, but a lot of people generally have this inclination that a lot of the guys are going to be less educated than myself. But in actuality, when I got there, the guys were incredibly smart. They knew 2 languages first and foremost. I only knew one, which was English, whereas my relatives and everybody I spoke to, they would know English and Urdu and Punjabi and all of the other languages that come with Pakistan. So automatically you have to go in there with the reality that you aren't the smartest person on the planet, that you are fallible and that you are ignorant to a lot of things. And that was a very valuable lesson. It's always important to know, no matter what stage you are in your career, in your life, that there's always going to be someone out there that knows more than you about a particular area. Yeah, if they were asking me about questions with aviation, of course I'll know more than them about it. But when it comes to asking questions about the culture, when it comes to asking questions even about IT and those kind of things, these guys knew everything, whereas I knew absolutely nothing. So humbling yourself and appreciating that you won't necessarily know everything is so valuable. And especially when it comes to becoming a pilot, you have to appreciate the fact that you are under a learning process for the rest of your life. You're always going to be learning. You're always going to be thinking of new things or learning new things whilst you're at work. When you're in high professions, the learning never stops, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in becoming a pilot, whether it's in pharmacy, everything, okay? You've always got to have the approach that you're going to continue to learn. And that is how you become a high value person within your work life and outside of your work life. If you adopt the mindset of growth, and adopting that mindset was so valuable. And it's something that I learned the second that I arrived in Pakistan, where I didn't know anything. I didn't know how the cultures work. I didn't know what the language was, but understanding that I didn't know those things was so important, to the point where I was really appreciative of the guys around me for actually knowing these things. And it was a very humbling moment in my life where I understood actually being brought up in the West, having the mindset that you know everything is not the way to go forward. And I realized that, and I took that upon my wing, and I took that into my strides moving forward when it came to actually applying for licenses, when it came to applying for assessments. I took that approach that I don't know everything, and I won't necessarily know everything for the rest of my life, but I will be willing to learn, and I'll be willing to be open to criticism, open to learning. Now, another valuable element to that, which leads into the kind of communication aspect, is that you have to learn how to communicate. If you don't know Urdu, you don't know Punjabi, and you're in a foreign country, you really have to quickly learn how to communicate to someone with non-verbal signs. So I had to use my body language, I had to use my facial expressions. I really had to learn how to communicate to someone that doesn't know a single word of what I'm saying. So if I needed something, I needed to be able to action it and show them what I needed without being able to say the words. So it's almost like playing a game of articulate. I mean, I had to really express myself to show what I wanted or what I needed. And that in itself is really valuable when it comes to aviation, because when it comes to communicating in an aviation setting, you have to be very clear and very concise with what you say, whether that's to ATC, whether that's to ground communications, whether that's to your passengers. You have to be very clear and concise and not waste your breath and not waste kind of words here and there which don't mean anything. When I was speaking to people that didn't necessarily know English very well or didn't know English at all, I had to be very concise and very clear in what I was trying to communicate. And I obviously transferred that into my pilot life, where now when I'm communicating something to passengers, when I'm communicating something to ground ops, when I'm communicating something to my captain, I'm very clear and direct in what I'm saying so that the communication element gets through. Because ultimately you want to be able to get your message across, not necessarily beat around the bush. And something I notice as a British person is that we often beat around the bush. We are very nice about the things that we say and we're not very direct. I mean, I remember doing my type rating in Amsterdam, and the Dutch there were very direct. They would go straight to the point. This is exactly what I mean in terms of what I'm saying. And so it was almost like it came across at times being rude, when in reality they weren't being rude, they were just being direct. So understanding that people are going to have different methods of communicating, and understanding your method of communicating might not necessarily be the best way of communicating was also important, and an important lesson that I learned whilst I was in Pakistan. So I really had to develop my communication skills whilst I was in Pakistan, where I was speaking to people that didn't speak my language. So if you're in a position where you want to develop your communication, I would really say, if you go to a country that just does not speak English and try your absolute best to immerse yourself in that culture and in that environment, you're going to find yourself not only picking up the language of the natives, but also picking up a lot of non-verbal communication methods, like smiling, like showing facial expressions, like being able to articulate without using vocals and without using words. Those things are really valuable in also an aviation environment. When it comes to even in an interview setting, when you're sitting in front of an interviewer and you're just sat there with your hands in your lap, not doing anything, that can be quite damaging to a kind of interviewer, because they'll be thinking, well, this guy's clearly not as passionate about what he's saying as I want him to be. So when you're able to actually articulate through your actions, through your expressions, through your everything, through your every form of communication you physically can use, you actually find that you can be more engaging and more passionate in what you're saying to anybody, in whether that's in your career or outside of your career and in your home life. And those are skills that are super valuable as a pilot. Now, another really, really valuable lesson I learned from Pakistan was appreciating the difference. And what I mean by appreciating the difference is that I really, really appreciated that life over there was completely different to life in the UK. When I went to Pakistan, I would often think to myself, why are my cousins just at home like the entirety of the day whilst I'm here? I mean, surely they've got work to do, surely they've got stuff to do, because in the UK, we're always working, we're always doing something, and we're zipping from job to job or place to place, doing stuff, and our schedules are always maxed out. And over there, I noticed my cousins were kind of relaxed and not doing much and just kind of chilling out. And when I realized why that was the case, I was absolutely astonished and really, really amazed and appreciative of it. Because in Pakistan, what my cousin had said was to his manager was, my cousins are coming around from England. I really need the time off to spend with them. Is that okay? And his manager outright said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Take as much time as you need. And didn't even have like, oh, this is how many days of annual leave you need. This is, I mean, for my English brain being brought up in this society, it was unfathomable. And it's really something that I don't think I could appreciate because I've not been brought up in that environment, where work seems to come first in the UK, where whilst in other countries, family will always come first. And it's very, very interesting, anyway, the dynamic that I was exposed to at that moment. Now, of course, I can draw on so many occasions that helped me in my particular journey towards becoming a pilot. But I'm going to leave you with this particular story that was told to me by someone out there that I just found absolutely astonishingly profound. So I met a guy in Pakistan that was introduced to me by my father, and this person had a very interesting life, and I could go into so much detail about his life and how interesting of a person he was, but I'll just cover one particular story that resonated with me and something that I carried on throughout the rest of my journey towards the flight deck. Now, this person was a lot later in life. He was an older guy, he had grandkids, he had children, and he was explaining to me his story, which was probably very, very early in the maybe 1970s. Now, where he was in life was his parents, his family, all were raised in Pakistan. And he was in his 20s. And throughout his life, he had a very, very difficult upbringing, didn't have much money at all, was in a particular place where he had to do a lot of, let's say, bad things in order to obtain money. Now, those bad things eventually caught up to him. The police and the officials found him and imprisoned him. Now, he was sentenced for life imprisonment. So he was supposed to be in prison. Even when I was speaking to him that day, he was supposed to be locked behind a jail cell. But one day, whilst he was in prison, he was met by an individual and was told that someone has come to meet him in the prison cell. Now, he was a bit confused and taken aback at that moment because he had not had many guests and many visitors in his time other than maybe his parents, and they would come at regular intervals, whereas this was an irregular interval for him to receive a visitor. He told me that that visitor literally said maybe 2 sentences to him. Now, of course, I was taken aback at this story. I thought, well, this can't be true. But I'll show you later that it was in fact true, and he showed me exactly why it was true with evidence as to why it was true. But that being said, he was met by this visitor, and this visitor said to him, he said his name, and he said, you have to read this piece of paper every single day if you want to change your life. and he gave him a piece of paper. Now, at the time, that piece of paper was very crisp and clean, he said. And he gave him that piece of paper and essentially left the conversation at that, walked away, and that was all he had. He had left a piece of paper which he was allowed to bring to his cell and everything because the authorities had approved it and had seen what it was and everything else. But he had taken this piece of paper to his cell. He said that he had started reading that piece of paper every single day. 2 weeks later, he was called to court and was proven innocent on all accounts and was told he would be let free. He said to me that moment was, for him, the shift in his life. That was the moment for him where he would take any opportunity he got. He would make the most of his life because he was in a position where his life was almost taken away from him. He said to me that that was the point where I was going to change my life. So he was continuing to read that piece of paper every single day. Whilst doing that, he was building himself, building his own personal traits, his own personal skills. And at the end, the guy that I had met, he ran a polo club in Pakistan, was one of the most wealthiest people in Pakistan. He had 14 horses to his name that were all very healthy and expensive horses. His children were all successful, all polo players. He was at a point in his life where he had achieved immense success. And I asked him what was on that piece of paper that that person gave you all those years ago. And whether or not you believe this, and I certainly do believe it because I've seen evidence of it, but that piece of paper had on it Surah Yasin, which is a verse from the Quran. And so he was reciting that verse every single day to help him with his life. I myself have done my absolute best to do the same. I urge you guys to do the exact same. Now, this is not just me saying it, but I've seen physical proof of it. It had changed my whole perception and my whole life. But that particular piece of advice that he gave me all those years ago, I've carried forward, and it has made me successful on my journey of becoming a pilot, I believe. I believe if I hadn't met that person, he hadn't given me that advice, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today, where I've, alhamdulillah, achieved a very successful career as a pilot so far. Now, you can take that advice and do what you want with it. That is free advice from me as an individual. But I think what is really, really valuable to know is that your life could be taken away from you at any point. It could be taken away from you at any point in your life. So what's so important, in my opinion, is really seizing that, seizing the moments and making sure that you do stuff that you're never going to regret. Doing something that you know in the long run is going to be super rewarding for you as an individual. Don't ever let yourself live your life with regrets, live your life with doubts or concerns. Always be clear, always be concise in what you're doing in your life, and make sure that it aligns with what you want to do and who you want to be as an individual. Don't let anybody else dictate who you are or what you're going to achieve in your life, because ultimately that is something that us as individuals are in control of. We're in control of one thing in this world, and that is how we live our life and the decisions that we make. Now, I hope this video has given you some insight and has provided some motivation and inspiration to some of you out there that are pursuing highly valued careers like being a pilot or being a doctor or anything else. I hope it's given you some motivation and insight. If you could do me a massive favor, if you could just like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you're interested in becoming a pilot, feel free to go into the description, book in a call with myself, and we can discuss whether or not I can work with you towards achieving that goal of becoming a pilot. Now, that being said, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you very, very soon. Assalamu alaikum.